Welcome to the webinar on graduation requirements. I'm Beth Elliott, and today we're going to be going over how to create and maintain your graduation requirements and then running the graduation requirement report both from MMS Generations and from the staff portal. So to begin with, we're going to set up our graduation requirements, and we do that under School, Edit Departments, because it starts with the departments. Your department code can be up to 4 characters, and the description is, I think it's 14, but you have more room for the description. The code can be either letters or numbers, whatever combination that you would like, okay? Under School, Edit Course Catalog, you're able to add your departments to your courses, and that's how it knows which courses go with which departments. When you add a transfer course, you might need to change your school year to the year that has the transfer course and assign the department so that it is recognized in your graduation requirements. To actually set up the graduation requirements, we're going to go in under Grades, More Grade Editing Jobs, and at the bottom is the Edit Graduation Requirements. In here you have a set of records for each year of grad, and they're set up for year of grad so that you have the ability to modify your requirements as things change. So it might be that you had a 2-year foreign language requirement and you're upping that to 3. So by changing your requirements for your incoming freshmen, you can have it so that the freshmen and maybe the sophomores require it, but not your current seniors and juniors, who might not have enough years left in the system to be able to play catch-up. So it gives you that area. When you come in here, you're going to see all of the records that exist. If you want to see just 1 year, you can come in here and select it. The years that you're going to see in here, the year of grads, are going to be what's in the student records anywhere in your database. So if I scroll down and look at my current juniors in the 15-16 school year, I can come in and see how many requirements I have for each year. Now basically what it's going to do is it's going to take whatever is their current grade level that you specify and go back that many years. So for a 2017 student who's currently an 11th grader, it will look to see what are the requirements for 3 years. It's not going to look at an extra year if you have a student who has been retained. That you're going to have to look at individually for those. If I was adding in a new area, I would just go up to a yellow plus, add in a record, and I can specify what record I want. I can select a different department from the list, or I can select a different year of grad. So I'd be able to add another year of grad in there and then put in however many credits I want the student to have to be on track to see whether they are satisfying your requirements. You can also delete a record if you don't need it anymore. The area at the bottom gives you the ability to copy all of the records from 1 year of grad to another. So I could come in and say, I wanted to take all of the 2019 records, copy them to 2020, and process. So I could take my current freshman and copy it into my incoming freshman. Now when you process, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to delete all of the records in the 2 year and copy in from whatever you had from the from. So it makes it very easy to do that. The alternative to that is I could take my new year coming in, or the years of seniors that are going to be graduating. So if I was in 16-17, I could take my 2016 records and then just drop down the list and change them to the incoming. Depends on how many changes there are between, say, my 2016 and my 2020 students, but it gives me the option to go either way. Now I could opt that I want to change all my 2016s to 2020 and then do the copy from 19 to 20. That way I still have just the one set of records that I need to work with, and I have also brought those incoming records up to date. You can have departments, such as here in the art department, or actually not in the art department. Foreign language here has no requirements. It's still listed so I can track it, but I don't have to have any requirements. They're just zeros in every year. Whether it's on a 1 credit, a 5 credit, it's whatever credits you use for a standard single period year-long class, or semester class if you are running a 4x4 block schedule. So either one of those is going to work. You can add more records in as you add in new departments. Just depends on what you need. You could have a separate department for certain courses. So if you need under social studies to know whether or not the student took your state-specific government or U.S. government, U.S. history in 11th grade to make sure that is a requirement that they have covered, you can actually make that course its own department and subtract that number of credits from the regular department. But if you're going to do that, you need to do it not only in the current school year, but in the prior school years, or future, as the case may be. If I want to print what records I have, I can either go up to the printer button to bring up the graduation requirements where I can show what years I want to work with, and then just hit print. So it's going to show me for each year of grad and in year of grad order what the requirements are. My other alternative to print this is I can go in under grades, more grade reports, and I can go down toward the bottom and print the graduation requirements department listing and do the exact same thing. It's just which way do I want to get to the report. Either one of those is going to work. The second half of this is looking at the actual reports to work with as far as the graduation requirements for the students. And that predominantly is going to be either under grades, more grade reports, and printing the graduation requirement report, or I can go into the staff portal and run it from here. Now, when I was setting up the graduation requirements, I can't do the actual graduation requirement piece itself, but setting up departments, I can come in to manage under the editing jobs and bring up the departments for that particular area. Let's go back in. So it's just under manage the edit departments, and I can see the same area where I can edit the department if I need to change it. You just click the little pencil, modify either the code or the description. Spell check if you want to in your description. Save it. You can delete one if you're not using that department anymore. Still print the codes listing. You can also go in under Manage, Edit Course Catalog. And in here you can come in and for each of the courses you're going to be able to see the department and when you edit. And you can include your transfer courses, but this is how you set up your department. So it's just a matter of pick from the list. So in either case, whether you are in MMS Generations or in the staff portal, you can include your transfer courses to be able to set the departments there. Okay. Now under grades is the graduation requirements report. You can set up as many save settings as you want for each of the graduation requirements. You can also activate it for the parent-student portal. And what that does is it just says before saving settings, it's going to let you do that so it knows that, yes, I can work with that. In here, what your options are is you can base the report on credits earned, which is courses that they have completed, or credits earned and enrolled, which is the courses they have completed and the ones that they are currently in. Below that, if you're doing the credits with enrolled, it wants to know where you're going to look at the current school year or the current and preceding school year. So if I was setting up for scheduling in the 16-17 school year, I'd want to see what they selected and or were enrolled in the 16-17 school year, and I'd like to be able to come back a preceding year to 15-16 to see what are they enrolled in but have not completed yet. So it gives that option. Below that, you can specify who you want to see this for. You can look at it for all students or only those that are deficient in credit. And you'll see that there's a notation here that the print report for is ignored when you're in the student or parent portals, because they figure that if it's a student or parent looking, they want to see it whether they're deficient in credit or not. They just want to see the report. That also applies for starting a new page for each student because they'd only have the one student. But below at the bottom here, as it says, what kind of a report do I want to see? Your options are the department summary, the course detail, or both. So let's start with just the department summary. You have an option, as I said, to start a new page for each student. There is the failing grades. Do you want to leave the credits enrolled, yes or no? So if a student has finished a course but failed it, because I'm looking at final average, do I want to consider that as enrolled, or do I want to just have it that they still need that credit? And then you have your option of whether or not to include your transfer courses. In any case of what I'm working with here, I want to go into my school years, and it's going to show me right here in red very nicely what school year I'm working with, and it wants to know the ending school year for the report calculation. So I don't have to stay in that report. I can actually go elsewhere. And then below that is for each of the year of grads for students that are in your current school year, it's going to show you what their grade levels are based, or what grade levels we're going to work with. Because it's not necessarily what's in the student record. This is more what credit values do I want to work with as far as are they meeting the requirements or not. So I can go ahead and move over the 2016 students for their 12th grade, the 2017 for the 11th grade, the same for 10th and 9th. So it gives me that capability to bring it in. I'm going to do a student range, so I'm not printing the entire student body. Let's deselect everyone. And right now we'll just look at Amy and her sister. So I'm going to click OK and print. In here, because I'm doing the summary and I set a new page for each student, I'm only going to see one student per page. So for each of the departments, it's going to tell me how many credits are required, what they've currently earned or enrolled in, the total of the earned and enrolled, and what's still needed, assuming that they pass everything. So I can come in here and see that Amy still needs business class, but other than that, if she passes all her courses, she's up to date. And what's very nice is over here it gives you the notation of what grade level we're doing this through. So it lets me see that. And then I can go to the next page. I was about to say I could go to the next page and look at her sister, but her sister isn't there. Let's go back to the student range and see what's going on with Amy, Christine. Interesting. I did do 2016. Okay. Not too sure why she's not showing. She should be. Let's try a freshman. Okay. And I had a notation that there was no school year showing in the report. The school year is up here in the right. There was something going on with those, and I would have to go back and look at the graduation requirements to make sure that I had them for the 2016 students. So I'm going to come back and look at my setup again. So I'm going to edit the graduation requirements and make sure that I have areas here. So I'm going to take my 2017s and copy them to 2016 just to make sure that the values are there, because I happen to know there weren't any changes in my system. And that looks like they're all there. So let's try this again. I'm going to go into my settings. I don't have any settings yet. So let's go back to my report option. I'm looking at just my department summary for all of this. And I'm going to go back into it to make sure that it reads the most recent setup of my areas. So we're doing the department summary. I'm doing a new page. I figured it out. The student was not deficient in credit. Amy was. She still had a half credit of business. But if I do all students and reselect the years, when I redo my student range and I look at Christine, when I print, because we're looking at the totals, Christine does not need any, she's not deficient in anything if she actually passes everything. And that's why Christine did not show as a senior, because she was up to date on all her courses. If I come back into the options, I can also say, show me the course detail. And in the course detail, there are more fields or more tabs that I need to work with. In the grade fields, I can bring in up to 4 individual fields. So with it being in February, I might want to look at my Q1, Q2, maybe my mid-year average, and my final average. And now when I print, it's going to show me how she did in the prior years and also how she's doing so far this year. And because she's enrolled in her 12th grade class, it's showing under the enrolled column rather than the earned column. Now, it could potentially be an earned if it was a semester class in the current year and she had finished the class. So if she had a final average and she had earned, and you have computed the credits for it, then it would be under the earned column. What's really nice in here is it splits it out by department and gives you the department summary for totals for each of the departments. So even though I don't have any requirements for foreign language, it's still showing me that she took a foreign language course. Now in here within each department, it sorts it by school year and then course code. So that's the order it's going to give them to me in. So that's really a handy one to have, to be able to have it broken down as to what they're taking. And you also have the option to do both. Do the summary and, back over here please, do the summary and the course detail. So if I print that, I'm going to be able to see the department summary first, and then below that will be the individual courses. So it's just a very handy one to have. This can be handy when I'm in the 16-17 school year. If I am coordinating with the guidance counselors, they're meeting with the students to figure out what courses they're taking next year. They can look at what the student has requested, use this report to see how are they doing so far during the year, and see whether they need to stay in the level course that they are in, or if they should potentially either go up or down a level based on what they're working with. So if a student is doing really well in an honors class, then they might need to consider a AP class. Or if they're struggling, they might want to go back down to a college prep course for the following year. But that's where this is for, is it gives you that option. If I go to the 16-17 school year, I can also set up my requirements. I can look at my settings, see what settings I have. So I have a setting here. I'm going to go ahead and recall it. And it lets me know up at the top here that there was a setting. And I can modify the name of that setting. When you add a new setting, it's going to default to settings 1. And you can just go ahead and change it. The creator of who saved the original setting or added the new setting is going to be whoever was their name as they were logged in. The locking gives you the ability that only that particular creator can do new save settings on top of what's already here. Anyone can recall it, but only the creator can change it, can change the setting, not what it is once you've recalled it. So if I come in here, I can see we're looking at credits earned and enrolled the preceding year, students deficient, the summary, and so they're seeing both of these. You can assign when you're doing your course registration, online course registration, that you can show them this particular graduation requirement report. And you might want to do a different setting for the incoming freshmen, that all they need to do is a department summary rather than everything else. So I'm changing this to just do the department summary. And I'm going to go ahead, remove all the ones I have. I don't have a 2020 student yet. If I did, 2020 would be here as a year I could pick from, and I'd be able to select the other record. So give me just a moment. Okay, so we're going to go with just the department summary because the incoming freshmen are not going to have any course detail at this point. So I can go into my school years, remove everything, and then go ahead and move just the 9th grade. And my calculation I want this is through the 16-17 school year. Okay, so it lets me set it up. I can do another setting. So I'm saying it's incoming 9th grade summary only. So I have an idea of what it is, and it can see the other creator. And I'm going to go ahead and save those settings. What's really nice if I go in to do my report is I can select just the 2020 students. Come back into my options, and I'm going to go with everybody anyway, and I'm not going to do a new page. So if I go ahead and print, I can see for each of these students how many credits they need in each department. So it gives me an idea of what they need. And that can be handy for a student who's selecting their courses to know what to pick. Now, something like the business, which only needs the requirement in their 9th grade year, you also have the option that by putting it in the earlier year or the earliest year that they have the option to select the courses. It'll keep showing as credits needed until they actually take a course that satisfies that requirement. So it really makes it handy to have that. Okay. Now, if we had activated, if I go back to my one thing more while I'm here, actually I need to go back a year. I'm going to go back to 15-16, and under the Manage is where you would set it up to do the course registration. So I have to do my save settings for the graduation requirement report in the year that I want to use it in. But when I come in and do the configuration, I can go to the 16-17 and indicate here for my 2020 students or the 2019 students which requirement I want them to do. So I'm going to do the regular setting for the 2019 students and make it available. And I can do the same for the 2020 students because I haven't opened up that registration yet. I can make it available and say I want to do the incoming 9th grade summary only, just for them. But these settings that it's going to pick from, excuse me, it was supposed to be saving that in there for me. Let's try that once more. Oh, it might be because I don't have my date set up yet. So I can come in, set this up to be open. Maybe it opens today. It closes next week. Now I could have just typed in a date of how long I want it open, or I can actually select the date. I can set a credit range if I need to. And we will set this up again. Saved it for there. Thank you. So I think it was because it didn't have any dates that it wouldn't let me save it. But this is where you can specify different settings depending on what year of grad that you are working with. If I go back into the actual report, you can set this up so it is available. And if I go into a parent view and you have actually activated one of the settings, so if I set up a setting here, so I want to see everyone, even if this is deficient normally, I can set all of this up as if I was going to work with it for the current year. Tell it which ones I want to work with. And because it's active for the parent portal, I did that before I came in. I can add that setting. So it's my parent portal version. At this point, I can go into my parent view and do a student search so I can see what's going on. So I'm going to look for the Abbiaticis, look at Amy. This basically gives me what the parent is going to view, and there is a graduation requirements. So it gives me that capability to be able to come in and see where they are. Amy is an 11th grader, so it's showing me what she has through there. If I change, come back to my students. If I go to the 16-17 school year and go back to my parent view, I can go look at Amy again. I'm just clicking the A this time. I can click on Amy, and I can come look at my course registration. So they're going to have either where they can enter their courses for the new year, or they can print the graduation requirements, or come right here to view the graduation requirements. Now at this point, Amy is a senior, so this one is showing it only through the 11th grade, where it should be showing it through the 12th grade. So I'll have to look at my setup for that. But it does give them the option to be able to come in and see that information for the new year. Okay? And that's basically graduation graduation requirements. Do you have any questions? Is look at my settings and make sure that it is set up properly for the 16-17 school year. Because these are not the correct years. And that's why Amy was not showing properly. And I can go ahead and include all years if it's one I also want to use to activate for the parent portal, or just leave it the way it is with those 3 years. We're still showing here, we're showing quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to get rid of quarter 4 and show quarter 1 instead. And then I'm going to move that up so it gives me an idea of where they are so far. And all the rest of this is the same. I can also use it for those that are all students, and I'm showing both. So if I come into the settings and I try to resave over this, because it isn't locked, it allows me to do that. And staying in here, if I do the parent view, and I look at Amy, under the course registration, I'm now going to be able to see that it is through her 12th grade year. So she needs an English class, she needs her business class, still needs a PE or health class to bring her up to date. So it's very handy that it shows me that. And this happens whether I'm in the back to course registration, whether I've actually come up to the top and gone to the report, I do the view right here. So either one is going to give me the ability to select that, which makes it really nice to be able to do so. Okay. All right. Anything else? One of the things I haven't really touched on, and should have, is when I was back setting up the graduation requirements, remember that anytime you're in these, you can always go to help, and that's going to bring up the help on how to set up the graduation requirements reports. Are your credit calculations up to date? So it's reminding you that if we're, say, in February, have you computed your credits for your first semester courses? Because if you haven't done that, then that won't necessarily show that the credits have been earned because you haven't done the calculation. Also remember that you can come to our website, and in here you can look at our knowledge base articles. There we go. And I can come in and say, okay, I want to look at graduation and just search. I don't even have to put both graduation and requirements, but there's graduation requirements report in for the parent student portal, setting up grad requirements, configuring your online course registration. So areas where this is used, it's going to give it to you, and you just have to click on it and see what's there. So it lets you see the setup of how to work with this. You can also come back and look at go back to home, and you can look at the video learning center here, which is our TechBytes. Now this area is going to be under staff or admin, and you can flick down through to try and find that area that you're looking for. so that you can see how to set that up. And the TechBytes are usually 5 to 15-minute videos on how to do basically one specific thing, like how do I set up my graduation requirement report. Not how to set up what they are, but how to print the report. So there's things like that that you can just come through and take a look. It's still loading. Always takes a while. But TechBytes are really handy to be able to work with that, to say how do you do one specific thing. And it makes it nice because things like the teacher portal, we split out into the skills editor versus the subject grades editor. Here we have the activating online registration, so it's going to walk you through doing that. If you don't find the TechByte you're looking for, please fill this in and let us know what you're interested in. There is also an area at the bottom that lets us know whether or not you found that area helpful. But it's nice to be able to come in, see what's going on with this, and work with it. Okay? Okay. So it is nice that you can come in and click the little up or down arrows to loop through and see what it is that you're looking for. So you have your honor roll calculations, you're going to have things like how to compute your credits. So it gives you that nice, easy, what do I want to look for? Okay. If you are logged in, then you can come into and you have a webinar subscription, or you also have access to the full-length recorded webinars, such as the one for this, that will give you the ability to go in and see what's going on with it. So you have your full-length webinars that you can go to. And it doesn't think I'm logged in. But we can come in there. The other thing to remember, by the way, is that we have actions that are coming in. Scheduling for Student Success is a conference coming up next month in Harrisburg that is for scheduling your students. So you can register right here for it, submit the query. Actually, you have your register button up here and see the information of what's going on. Okay, we still have our early bird rate through the 29th before it goes up a little extra more. But you can come down, see what sort of agendas is coming up, and see what's going on. Okay, so please seriously consider coming to the Scheduling Students for Success conference. It's a 2-day, and you can really learn some great information on it. Thank you very much for participating, and we hope to have you at another webinar.